Oh, I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Players, and you'll have to excuse my intrusion because, I'm in Atlanta. We just had a tropical storm roll through, and I'm a bit stirred.
But to your great credit, not shaken.
Yeah, I'm. What drink is that?
Martini, James Bond,
There it
Vesper
is.
Martini.
Yeah,
Vesper Martini. Stirred,
Yeah.
not shaken.
Well, I have nothing to complain about because I am one of the fortunate folks here in Atlanta that actually has power. I think there's about, well, it got up to at least 1 million people. I don't know where it's at now. I'm hoping that some of the folks are starting to get their power back. Excuse me, but it might be a little while before they do.
Yeah, well, I mean, after you were mentioning last night that you might be going through this, I started looking it up, and I've been tracking the storm, and it seemed like it really, I mean, the winds were getting up to 60, 70 miles an hour, something like that, and which is tropical storm level. And the rainfall was, from what I'm reading and not really so much seeing, but was intense too. Like bucket kind of level rain.
It was like raining sideways almost.
Oh, that's the worst. You hate when you see that. We've got rain, but we got regular rain, going this way, and it's not even 3 inches. But we're gonna get around close to 3 inches today. And for us, it's just a matter of taking care of all those feral cats outside and making sure they're okay. But they're perfectly happy. They've got roofs over their head, literally. We have cats sleeping in houses during the rain, so they have literal roofs over their head. They're not getting wet. We go out in the rain and we'll stick food in the houses, right? So they're eating, right? So they got a perfectly good. And we have 2 little kittens that we're particularly mindful of. So, we're
Cool.
good. Very little problem here.
Now, this is funny. Now, let me show you the first comment that came up. Now, mind you, this was the first one that came up. That came up before this one came up. How did that happen?
Esteban is psychic. That's what it means.
Well,
Esteban,
psychic.
Digital pestilence is digital pestilence. Hey, Ray, right? It's digital pestilence is digital pestilence, man. They can do what they do.
He is what he is.
Serious player.
I always look forward to Sven because I never know what language he's going to greet us with.
Hawaiian.
There it is. I think that's the first Hawaiian greeting. Ooh.
Yeah, well, he's actually been the first of a lot of countries' greetings. But I think he's probably first of pretty much, other than English and probably Spanish and probably German, he's first for every other one. I don't think any other one that he's done has been a first.
There's
Mr. Feo.
Greetings.
Man. Good day,
I'm not doing the salutations, just the greetings are for that. There it is. Oh,
it's the same one as Brent, Aaron. Different lighting schemas, but the same one, same camera as Brent. Panasonic GH5.
You got a different lens. You got it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we have different setups, but both of us are. Brent sent me down a rabbit hole that I have yet to emerge from. I'm
to break out the big boy yet. I have not broken out the single.
That's watch what happens when that thing is.
I'm waiting to pull the trigger on another camera before I break that one out.
I'll tell you, man, with this rabbit hole you're down, I'm down at least. I think you are too, honestly. But when it comes to all of this, I've just told Yvonne at this point, just throw me carrots every day. I'm pretty much living down here now.
You got to show this one from Ray. Oops, where did it go? There it is. There he is.
You should tell that story. That's a good story. Well, congrats too, by the way.
Yeah, congrats. Maybe when we get Ray on with us, we'll go down that one.
That's a good one.
So there's one.
Yep. Hebrew.
What is it?
It looks like, again, wait, I'm starting to, my Hebrew, shalom is, no, that's not shalom. That's a share. Wait, what the heck is that? My Hebrew skills are really rusty. I haven't used them since I was 16. Mo.
Somebody, we might need a translation, Alan.
Hey, Alan, I can't do it, man, and I don't know why.
I
can recognize.
Let's see. Oh, well, I guess that's
No,
Esteban.
but it doesn't.
Shalom.
It is. But
Here he is. Here it is.
Like,
What's happening?
Yeah, it wasn't shalom. That was why I was being thrown. What's the words? I didn't recognize the words. It's like, go back to it. Go back to that one. I want to check.
Oh, this one right there.
Yeah, that looks like. I think that's like.
What's happening?
Or my cure, something like that. My cure. Alan, tell me if I'm even close. Just say close, way off, yes or no.
That's what I said. What's going on? Sounds like Marvin Gaye.
What's going on? Alan, but give me a sign, Alan, man. I need to know how far away or close.
Yeah, give him a sign. What was the name of that group that did the song, The Sign? I can't remember. I saw.
Oh, I probably don't want. I saw the sign.
Looks like we might have some language wars here. Looks like Alan Spin thinks Alan is encroaching on his turf there. I don't know.
That's right. And Sven did post shalom last week. And Aaron put up.
You're very
look at this.
Jose on your team now.
That's right. Yeah, that's probably let those guys talk for a while. We'll let them talk with each other. Let's go back. Correct. I wasn't too. I thought I said that right. I was close. Ma correct.
That's what I had to translate it in Hebrew to Spanish.
Ma correct. I'm not that rusty. I was close.
My choice would have been in and out. Hey, but you know, Ray, come on. You can't step away from Five Guys, man. Come on.
I don't know. If you see, that means I was actually, I said ma, but I wasn't. I said correct, I think, or correct.
So maybe the next. Yeah. I thought you. Well, I don't know.
I thought I was right.
You know, I think we just got the next idea for our next CRM Playaz promotions. Fight night. Spin versus Al.
Definitely. ETI. You know what we should do? We should commission claymation thing for the two of them. And then,
celebrity death match.
That's right. We'll do a celebrity death match for the two of them. Get those claymation things. No.
I just have to tell you
version.
This. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So if I had my druthers, I would definitely go Chick-fil-A over Five Guys. I'm sorry, Ray. If there had been a Chick-fil-A over in London when we were there, we would have been eating biscuits in 2 pieces. Things like
Nothing beats the flying biscuit. I'm sorry. And the Chick-fil-A is
well, that Chick-fil-A is not what I would go to breakfast for. That's like a lunch and a dinner, quick dinner kind of thing. You know what? This is great. We've got Alan and wait a minute. Alan and Aaron going over, former employees that are now colleagues at other jobs now. We got Aaron weighing in on Five Guys with the better fries. It's the peanut oil. Sven is all in for fight night. So Alan, the challenge is on you now. Well, we'll just wait to hear back from you on that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh. Yeah, I didn't. Is there In and Out in London? I didn't even know they had them over there. Wow.
Okay. Wow.
We could almost do the show just on comments on food.
I know. On Chick-fil-A and In and Out and Five Guys.
Yeah. Alan was weighing in chicken biscuit for breakfast. You can't go wrong with the chicken biscuit for breakfast. No, but if you've ever been to the Flying Biscuit, there is really no.
Right. There's no. Look, honestly, we're talking Five Guys and In and Out and Chick-fil-A. For me, it's Flying Biscuit and Glory Days. That's it. That's wow.
Get back to work. It's getting rough in here.
He's probably reading IP addresses now. Right, to see who's watching the show. Looking at LinkedIn IP addresses. That's Jeff Hoppins.
This
Jeff.
is really, this is getting real rough. All
Okay,
right.
let's
I guess we should proceed a little bit because we do have a guest that we're going to bring on in a little while. And we did want to touch on a few things before that. Did you want to do the BYOB thing?
Yeah, actually, good idea. We should we have some promos, guys. We got two of them actually. We've got Pipe Drive and we've got Pros. Now again, because we're judges, we're not even going to comment on the promos as far as, you know, they're both, we'll say this, they're both really good and they're both very different. So Brent, you got them teed up and ready?
I got the first one, which will be
all right.
Drive, I believe,
yeah.
So
okay, when you do after that's over, I'll fill other people in on
I'll
BYOB
play that one. Yeah, I'll play this clip, and then you talk on the other end, and let me get that.
Yeah, that'll work. All right, guys, this is Pipe Drive. With the band is the Crockerbirds.
I wonder if this will let me do this. Okay, here we go. I think.
All right.
All right.
Pipe Drive. That was awesome. Okay, so there's some other news we're going to talk about. So Brent and I have decided that, you know, honestly, we've been doing the plays now for 12 years, and we decided we love like special production level things and, you know, kind of make it more entertaining than the norm. I had somebody I was talking to today, a CEO of a company who watches the plays pretty frequently, and he said that in fact, yeah,
I didn't have you on screen, and
it doesn't matter. Around. my voice is full, right? So, yes, Aaron. By the way, flip up Aaron's thing so we can answer him. Right above that.
Oh wait, this one.
Yeah, yes, it is. The BYOB is 10 house bands, right? That's the key to the whole thing. They're all house bands for all the participants. So anyway, we decided to make this a really entertaining way. So basically, the public vote on the 10 bands, the 30 songs, starts in mid-December. And the way we're opening the public vote up is Brent and I are announcing a 2-part, 2-hour each day, 2 consecutive day BYOB extravaganza where we will show all 30 videos and do it by band, and each band will be brought on to talk about themselves, right? And all 30 bands. Now, the interesting part of this is we want to take interaction to a new level. You know, the big thing now that everyone's talking about is interactivity, right? Everyone's talking about, but interactivity in everybody's head is actually, is Brent and Paul do this, and the rest of us comment out in LinkedIn land. But we're doing what we're going to now call the, I think, what's the song? Was it Dancing in the Dark by Bruce Springfield? It's the Courtney Cox Bruce Springsteen. I didn't say Springfield, right? Not
Bruce Rick Springfield.
No, forget it. Yes, let me correct myself there. I meant that's what comes when you're 70, right? So it's the Courtney Cox Bruce Springsteen thing. So we are literally want to pull people from the audience into the show. Now we're going to do a little bit more stringently on this. So the way we're doing it is Brent and I will host a segment. Then our players in residence, Ellen Nicole France and Ginger Conlon will host another segment. And then if you have attended a happy hour and are a member of the happy hour communities that will be you're invited to based on your attendance at happy hours, or or a member of the LinkedIn community that we have, which I recommend you all join, even if you're a happy hour community member. We're going to pick a couple of you. If you're, we're going to put out the word, say, hey, who wants to do it? And if you want to do it, you will host a segment. We're going to bring you on to be players for the day, basically. So we, oh, Aaron, don't do that to me. Right. So, right. We are literally going to bring you guys in. It's Courtney Cox, Bruce Springsteen, Dancing in the Dark, and now CRM Playaz and you guys. So Courtney's of the world unite and be ready.
All right. I'm ready for the next clip whenever you're ready.
Yeah, all ready. So we got pros now. This is pros. Band is the prophet.
All right.
And you'll recognize the format when you see it right away. If you're at least 25 years old, at least 14 years old.
Hi, I'm Tiffany.
Hi, I'm Arturo.
Hi, I'm Shane.
Hi, I'm Jana.
Hi, I'm Bob.
Hey, I'm Genesis.
Hi, I'm Brian.
Hi, I'm Sierra.
Hi, I'm Michael, guitarist for The Prophet.
Hey, this is Andrew with The Prophet and Pros. Looking forward to Battle of the Bands. We're going to win.
I'm so excited for Battle of the Bands. I'll see you there.
Excited to be playing for Battle of the Bands.
See you at Battle of the Bands.
The Battle of the Bands is going to be awesome, and we're great.
You gotta admit, that's probably going to be the nicest one we see. Good
I know.
luck, competitors.
What really? I would, if I were in this, I wouldn't be. I'd be like, forget you guys, man.
Right. Well, there was also I call that the TikTok version. Right.
Yeah. Right.
Right. So anyway, those are two. So we've done those two in Salesforce's last week. We have 7 more that we'll be showing you as we come along. So that's where we stand with BYOB.
I know some of these groups do have a dance troupe, right?
Yeah, they do. We won't. Let's not say who. We'll keep that.
We're not going to say who. We're not going to say who has the dance troupe, and we're not going to say who's got the drone. But there will be drones.
That's right. There will be a drone involved.
Send in the drones.
Wow, you could sing.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. What time is it? Oh, okay. There we go. Wow.
Oh yeah.
You know what? We spent so much time on everybody's comments. That was really amazing.
Well, that's it. And we're gonna have to, given the time, we got a really cool guest here. One of the better people.
We do. Which is it's so ironic because yesterday on the happy hour was it Jeff's first time doing the happy hour?
It was. Yeah.
Okay, so yesterday's happy hour, Jeff McDonald, and I always feel compelled. I don't know why. This shows you just how immature I am. I gotta do it. Jeff McDonald, and I believe he does have a farm. I don't know.
I knew it. Right, sorry.
We
apologize in advance. We apologize to all of
Sorry.
We apologize to Jeff and Old McDonald.
Yeah, and all the farmer McDonald's out there. I sincerely apologize. But no, Jeff McDonald, who's heads up analyst relations over at ServiceNow, he sat in on the happy hour yesterday, and this is no joke. This is his very first happy hour. This is no joke. So as we were just about to wrap up the happy hour, I get a notification on my phone from Seeking Alpha, and I can't remember the exact wording, but it was something to the effect of ServiceNow beats on revenue and beats on top and bottom line numbers, like a blowout thing. And I'm not kidding. A split second after I get the Seeking Alpha notification, we get the email from the ServiceNow analyst group talking about the earnings that just came out. I mean, it couldn't have been coordinated any better if they tried to do it. I'm sure that was just coincidental. Although Jeff did kind of act like he meant to do that, but I'm not.
That's right. It was a surprise.
Yeah. So I was like, that's Jeff. I think he probably knew it was probably a good number, because why else would he join the happy hour and then kind of strategically place himself like that? Let me pop this up here. As we were talking about everyone. So anyway, so they had a blowout earnings report, and I have the whole like 20 some odd slide deck. We're not going to go through that. It's all goodness. I'm just going to put one slide up, and then we'll bring on our guests, because then we can like ask them about how they did this. Here's the one slide that just really stood out. I mean, all the other stuff was good. This just really stood out to me. Look at the renewal rates on those things.
Oh my God. Those are insane.
I mean, 97 is bad for them.
I know.
It's like you got 99s and 98s and 97s. I mean, that's killer.
That's actually, for a company that size, especially, that's like, I want to say unprecedented. I mean, imagine somebody somewhere might say no, it's not, but I honestly never see renewal rates at I never see renewal rates like that ever.
Yeah. Wait a minute, Bob. Can we at least introduce the dude before you start spouting this stuff? Oh my God. He's from Boston. How do we keep on getting people from Boston on this show?
I have no idea. I didn't even know that.
I'm gonna act like I didn't see that, and so we can enjoy it.
Probably a good idea. Right. Probably a good idea.
Of course, my ignoring it probably will go away, because of the first question I'm gonna have to ask him.
Right, of course.
But anyway, let me bring on to the CRM Playaz for the very first time.
There's the man.
Nick, so, I don't know how to say your last name, Nick. Is it Tzitzon?
That's right. That's right, Brent. Perfect.
All right.
You sure you guys don't want to go through our slides? You're doing a great job. I don't want to ruin the flow.
No, listen. You're the flow, dude. This is how this is gonna go.
I think Jeff somehow in some kind of maniacal fashion had this all planned out. I mean, how do you have this happen?
So Brent, really, the reality is the sales and the product teams found out he was going to be in his first happy hour before the quarter closed. So they over-delivered so that we would have a great story to tell.
You know what, though? You also might have to think, I mean, now, Jeff, that sounds great. But if Jeff had anything to do with Larry Ellison from Oracle moving the date of his CX keynote, because we were actually supposed to do this CRM Playaz experimental Mystery Science Theater 3000 / CRM Playaz watch party, because we found out that Larry Ellison was going to be doing what I think is his very first CX keynote, like the feature of CX as told by Larry Ellison. So we're like, no, we don't want to miss that, but we still want to do our show. So we're going to try to combine the two. And so we were all set to combine, to have that happen. Then they moved the date. Yeah, it was going to happen right now. Then they moved the date. And then, of course, we went back to Jeff and asked, is Nick still available? And he was kind of coy about it. He kind of played it smooth and cool. But I mean, so maybe Jeff is even better than we even think about this.
I think Aaron's right. Jeff's a monster.
So I just, on that note, hope that the word got out enough that this had been rescheduled, because I feel bad for the audience tuning in expecting to see Larry Ellison and instead getting stuck with me. It's kind of like,
no, listen, take my word for it. You're better. Right? So
Can I ask him one question? Can I ask him the one question I have to ask?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. That's right. It's jumping the gun here.
I might be asking for some punishment here. I saw from one of our commenters, Bob Fagel, that he believes that you're from his hometown. So are you up in the Boston area?
Bob is correct. He's correct on both counts. So I'll take all punishment that's due.
Okay.
No, there's no actual punishment. It just means you're never invited back. That's all.
Yeah, pretty much.
But we're so bad this year, so you must love that.
So in other words, I don't even have to ask the question because he just said we are so bad this year.
Yeah. No, he actually said it right on both counts.
Oh, but I didn't even get a chance to ask the question. So all right, well, okay. All right. Well, it's been really nice knowing you, Nick. Maybe.
That's right. We'll see you around at Knowledge 2021.
we're having Knowledge 2021 at Jeff's farm. So
So I got to tell you a story about Nick and tell you something about this guy before we get into ServiceNow and what's up and what he's doing and so on. When he was at SAP, he was like the secret, to the world in general, he's like this big secret. And a lot of analysts knew him, like Josh Greenbaum's the one who actually introduced me to you originally. And he was this like genius who was kind of running the global marketing stuff. I mean, like everything. Not like an aspect, not product marketing, not, corporate marketing, like the works. And not only was he a genius doing all of that, with his Machiavellian hands behind the scene, but he's also like super funny, right? It's like, I'm not going to tell the story. I told Brent this earlier, but I'm not going to tell the story of the first time I heard you say something in an analyst meeting, because it actually had something to do with me and Alex Atzberger at an event, which made me hysterically laugh. But I'm just not going to repeat it because I love Alex. And so, but it was hysterical. Okay. So this guy's like, I'm telling ServiceNow, I'm putting ServiceNow on notice actually on this. I want you to know that if they don't put you, Nick, out front a lot more as a face of the company, I'm going to get on their case big time. And I am going to make it really, really blatantly obvious that they need to do it, because you need to be out there. And I am not kidding. No more jazz hands. All right. Behind the scenes.
Well, wait a minute. Isn't he already out there being on our show? I mean,
first steps.
I've always been told I have a face for radio. So, I think that, there's a limit to how far we'll go, Paul, but that's very kind of you. I really appreciate that. That's very generous. Thank you.
All true though, too. All right, so Chief Strategy Officer. First, leave SAP, come to ServiceNow, work with your buddy Bill again, and here you are, Chief Strategy Officer. It's kind of what you did, but it's not exactly what you did. So, how do you handle your current responsibilities? And number two is, what do you feel you got to kind of figure out yet when it comes to it?
Yeah. Well, actually, I brought a copy of our corporate strategy to show you. It's winner's dream, Bill McDermott, right? Paul, it's an interesting question in a company that has historically done so well, right? ServiceNow, you date back to the Frank Slootman days where they IPO'd and they ran like wildfire through the IT service management category. They blew apart what everybody had thought that total addressable market would be. Customers loved it. And then John Donahoe comes in and they sort of evolve the idea beyond just IT, and they go off and they do employee and customer workflows. And now you bring in Bill, and it's a question to me of how do you continue to scale a company that is doing so well, that you saw the renewal rates and the retention rates. How do you scale a company that is doing so well without harming all the things that made it what it is? And to me, let's not pretend like it's more complicated than that, right? How do they continue to please customers and not fall into the trap of the bigger you get, customers continue to experience more and more pain? How do you avoid that? How do you broaden the exposure of the brand and what it stands for? Good news is there's a great team. You had Alan Marks on, I think, a while back. He's doing a great job with the marketing and the brand and the communications of the company. CJ Desai is a product, like as a chief product officer goes. The guy is he runs that thing beautifully. It's a solid team. So that's a little bit sort of the early days on how I see it, but I don't want to make it more complicated than it is. It's structurally a healthy business with a healthy, loyal customer base. And now the question is just to keep moving it forward and taking it to new use cases.
Well, so here's an interesting piece of their evolution. I'm curious as your take on it too, which is, I've known the company a while now. I knew them really. I began knowing them when it was CSM then, right? When CSM became a thing, right? And I was introduced to someone you probably knew years before at SAP, which was Holly Simmons at the time when she was still at ServiceNow, right? And so anyway, the thing that fascinated me was the way, I remember Jeff was the first one to tell me this too. He said, look, we don't focus on customer service. He said, we do customer service operations, but we're not customer service operations, but customer service operations, meaning we focus on the actual operational requirements that customer service needs, not as much on, say, web self-service. Obviously, case management you do because you have to, but not so much on the aspects where the customer is doing the immediate intersection, but making sure that everything works really well, which is to the credit of you guys. What you built there was genuinely, seriously astounding, given that it was built in a relatively short period of time, too. So, well, not even given, look, if it took a long time, it still was astounding. So it's not a matter of the time it took. But one of the things that began really kind of evolving, I noticed, and is that, look, obviously we saw CRM move to kind of purely operational, and then CX and customer engagement kind of go on the upswing and take over the right brain part of the whole thing. And you couldn't avoid that subject. And I remember having a discussion in 2019. Yeah, it was 2019. It was last year. About when Disney Plus, you were doing the work with Disney Plus that you announced at Knowledge 2021 with the CIO. And I was very excited for that because it was basically your proof point that customer service ops had a major impact on customer experience. And I remember my way of putting it to Jeff was, when Knowledge 2020 comes, which I thought would be live, you have to have Baby Yoda on the stage without any question, right? But you know what? You kind of one-up me, not in cuteness, definitely, but otherwise you one-up what I said by having, the CIO of Disney Plus come on stage and talk about the partnership, and he used the word partnership between ServiceNow and Disney Plus. And I know how protective Disney is of their brand and logo, so getting him on that stage was not an easy thing to do, but he obviously trusted you and loved you guys that much that he was willing to do it. But it's that CX piece, I think, is where the evolution of the company's the best bet for evolution of the company comes. So you're the guy, you're literally the guy who's going to put that together, right? So without revealing secret trade secrets and plans, how are you going to do that? Because that's your starting point was Disney Plus, but there's a lot more things to do when it comes to that. So what's the idea?
I mean, I think the things that we relate to, Paul, as consumers, notwithstanding all the focus on CX and CRM and all the related adjacencies over the years, you can still call up a company today and you could still sit on hold for a ridiculous amount of time. You can literally get angrier and angrier as you do, and then somebody comes on the phone and they immediately try to upsell you without actually fixing what you were calling to get fixed. So, like, to me, and I think to the ServiceNow family, the question is, okay, how do you infuse the service orientation that makes the platform what it is today into those kinds of environments where companies historically just continue to step in it? And it has become so much about the upsell and the cross-sell that people still haven't connected the value chain to the mid-office and to the back office so that people actually feel like they're respected and they're getting what they paid for already. So part of what I think is a sort of strong suit for ServiceNow is the fact that you can build cross-enterprise workflows on the platform. You're not reliant exclusively on one system. So if you want to use a certain kind of system to keep track of who's in your contacts directory in terms of your customer base, that's fine. But it's guaranteed to not be the same system in which you keep fulfillment and finance. So, the question we're posing to businesses, who run ServiceNow and those who don't is philosophically, don't you believe that those things should be integrated without necessarily having to rip out and replace everything? Don't you feel like you should connect these things so that the people you actually pay to serve your customers can get an enterprise-wide view of how to do that? So what I think you'll see, Paul, is I think you'll see us continue to find more and more applicable use cases like the Disney Plus example, where as companies are trying to create new ideas for how to grow their business, they're trying to come up with new business ideas. Let's actually start with a satisfying service orientation in that business so that you don't run the risk of a first sale and then a drop ball on the retention side. Like that's the big issue for us. If we can thread that needle and tell that story in a way that, again, doesn't require companies to make these, massive, complex, long-term ROI intense investments, and we can give them lightweight solutions to do it, I like our place in the market.
Well, it looks like you already know how to do that. Looking at those retention rates again, those, as long as you stay in that ballpark, you should be pretty good to go. But
you want to bring it back up, Brent? We could show it again if you want.
I'll just let it be known it's 98 right now. 97.
Those numbers are insane. It's like I don't even know how you do it. I honestly, those numbers are amazing for a company that's doing amazing, right? A company doing amazing, if they had 94, they'd be amazing. And you're doing 98, 99, and your bad quarter is 97.
It's a cultural thing. It's a cultural thing. It really is. It's a cultural thing. This is, you look at Fred Luddy, the guy who founded the company. The guy's like, guy's the biggest sweetheart I've ever seen in the tech industry. A guy who still tears up when he hears like customer success stories, and that's not a line, that's the truth. And again, I think that has, it's funny how companies in this space have a way of sort of operationalizing the personality of their founder, and I think I see that a lot in ServiceNow.
So I guess that would, just from my perspective, that kind of depends on the personality, whether it's good or bad. I can think of another extremely large company where that's very bad that they did that. And I can think of two really. But, the thing is, I never met Fred particularly, but I've certainly seen the admiration that everybody who has for him. That's come across at every time we were at the conference. I'm astounded, really. So what, for your perspective, again, you kind of know the path you're taking, and you've said it's fairly simple in terms of what you're trying to accomplish, but there's always the level of innovation and kind of the what's next. And sometimes, to be honest, a lot of what I see is what's next, and then viewing it as an analyst here is just, we're doing it because it seems to be cool and other people are doing it, not because there's any actual genuinely practical purpose for us to be doing it. My question to you is, what is next? And, I'll reserve judgment on what it is until you tell me, but.
So I guess, Paul, there's a lot of ways you could take it. I would say personally, the one that's most interesting to me is this new wave that I think is still probably a couple years out, but the whole knowledge workers building their own enterprise solutions on low code, no code platforms. To me, I asked Chris Beatty, who's ServiceNow CIO, what do you think about this? And he said, look, CIOs and people who are responsible for core tech operations in businesses, they're not going to let people outside of their orbit touch the top 20%. most business critical processes. Those are going to stay closely guarded. They're going to be in systems. They're going to be orchestrated and tightly managed. But the other 80%, a large portion of which today are still paper-based or, sort of ad hoc. Those things, you had Lotus Notes, you had SharePoint, and you're going to have a new wave of whatever it is, low code, no code, call it whatever you want. So for me, for us, I'd love to make sure that people are thinking about ServiceNow as a platform that's ready for that. Certainly in the context of CX, because if you're trying to like unify the whole business to serving the customer, then it would go as a logical step forward that you would want to build new kinds of things on the same platform that you rely on for customer service. So to me, that's an exciting space. Like I said, I don't think it's tomorrow, but it's something that we want to make sure we're prepared for.
As the chief strategy officer at a company that's moving so quickly, what are the things that keep you up at night, even though you guys are doing so great? Are there any things that keep you up at night? Things that you feel you need to change direction or tweak in some fashion to make sure that you kind of continue the stuff that you're doing?
It's a good question, Brent. I mean, I tend to sleep pretty well. Not necessarily because of the business. I just think, who is it that keeps talking about sleep? It's there's a Thrive. Ariana Huffington. That's her big thing.
Right.
Get a good night's sleep. Get a good night's sleep. Jen Morgan used to be heavily involved with Ariana. Look, I think the industry. I was actually thinking about this before I came on the show. Like, I was like, how do you explain this industry and all the competitors in it? I think the enterprise tech industry is a lot like Batman movies, in the sense that, hear me out, in the sense that you have like Michael Keaton's version of Batman, which was the first couple. Which
I like that one. I thought it was good.
Yeah, right. Like a lot of people still like.
Pleasantly surprised, actually, because I was thinking this guy is going to be a joke, and he's good.
He pulled it off. So then you had like this weird Val Kilmer, George Clooney phase.
Yeah.
Which was, I hope you didn't like those. You had to cut the thing off. Then you had like the Christian Bale phase, the Christopher Nolan movies, which were awesome.
Right.
That's sort of like let's call it the new wave of the Michael Keaton era, because Michael Keaton's era was good. The next couple were awful. Then the Bale thing was really good. And now you're into like this Ben Affleck kind of world where it's, it's not terrible. It's never really going to stick. Yeah. So to me, how do you keep ServiceNow in the Christian Bale camp? Right?
Interesting way of putting it.
It's a really interesting way of putting it, given Christian Bale's general personality, right? So
not necessarily like his personal bull, but you see what I mean. Like, how do you keep it in the Christian Bale Batman quality realm, as opposed to letting it sort of drift backwards or get too ahead of itself? I think that's the sweet spot. And keeping ServiceNow in the sweet spot where customers still love to use the product. We still actually release product as opposed to just promote vision in the market, which a lot of companies struggle with. And we continue to execute well. That's what worries me. But at the same time, I'm not losing any sleep over today, because I think we're a healthy company.
Yeah, we certainly are.
Who's your bane? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, we'll have to take that one offline.
Hey, Paul, you, I guess, elevated Adobe to a top 5 status. So, Nick, for at least a couple of years or so, there was we had like the big 4, which was Microsoft, Oracle, SAP, and Salesforce. And I think over the span of 2 years or so, and there may be some folks who are watching this broadcast right now who may not agree, but the numbers don't lie. So over the span of 2 years or so, Paul slowly positioned Adobe into creating the top 5. So at first it was like 4.2, and Adobe was a 0.2. Then they kind of moved up to 0.5. And then just this year, it went from
And then-
0.5. There was a 0.8 in there somewhere, or is
Right. It went to 0.8 about a year
0.8.
ago.
0.8. Okay. So and then so this year it made it to full-fledged, no more Big Four, now top 5 or whatever you want to call it.
Big 5. We'll call them Big
And
5.
Big 5, it's like, anybody who was from Philly, the Big 5, the Palestra and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So now we're at the, the Big 5 or whatever it is. I use an acronym for the Big 5 because it's now Adobe, Microsoft, Oracle, Salesforce, and SAP. It's AMOSS. You guys are starting to position yourself. You're starting to, make us think about another elevation.
We'll call it the coveted decimal point.
Yeah, it's the decimal until the decimal is fully completed. Because if you do that, then it'll be AMOSS because there's so many S's at the end.
Yeah, it'll be the snake version of AMOSS, right? So the AMOSS.
Yes.
But
what's it going to take? How do you guys become that 6th so that we always think of ServiceNow in the context of all the big guys that have the big market share? What do you guys have to do?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, first of all, I wonder if with another S you could play with it a little and come up with some different words in the construct.
Samoas.
Samoa.
Yeah.
Samoas might work.
It seems like a dangerous thing to get into live.
I'm
Yes,
going
it is.
AMOSS. I'm sticking with AMOSS.
AMOSS. Okay, AMOSS. What are we going to do? Look, I think if you were to ask most people, they still think of ServiceNow first and foremost as a system in the CIO realm. I think, Paul, to your point, I think over the last few years, the way we've expanded beyond that is why not SAMOSS?
No, we talked about that one. It didn't sounded
Yeah.
less meaningful.
Yeah, I'll stick with AMOSS. Sorry.
Yeah.
Better. So yeah, I want to see us continue to get sort of identity traction outside of IT. Look, we're going to stay with IT. It's our core business. We're not going to go anywhere. We're going to do interesting, innovative things for CIOs, but employee experience, customer experience. The more in particular on the customer experience side, we can articulate a clear market view on service and why that should be a front office, mid office, back office value chain, and why you should build it on a platform. If we keep doing that, Brent, and we continue to wheel out, success stories like Disney Plus, I want to be on the happy hour when we officially get anointed.
I'm sure Jeff will know before we know. And
That's right. He
By the
might
way-
be doing the anointing.
By the way, nobody brought up Shake Shack, by the way, in the earlier part of the comment. I meant to say that. Is that not?
That's a good one.
It's a good one. I mean, in and out's good. But, okay, sorry.
I'm telling you, none of those for me, man. Five Guys is as close as I'll get to any of those, right? But we have this chain here. It's a sports. They're not really bars. They're actually sports restaurants, and they have like 50 TVs and stuff like that. And they're called Glory Days, and they do all the sports food, all sports bar food you can want, but let's say a half a cut above the norm. And so you can get, if you want, the not sports, like Cedar Plank salmon or something like that. They even have an entirely gluten-free kitchen. I mean, literally a separate kitchen. And their drinks suck. I mean, they're horrible drinks, but the food's really good. So you take Glory Days, that's one. And then, that's my go-to. When clients come to the house to do advisory work, which has happened multiple times, including your former employer has been over here for lunch because it's only a half a mile from there. We always go to Glory Days, and then we go to like a foodie restaurant at night. But everyone loves Glory Days. It's like the best hangout. So when I'm dealing with Shake Shack and right, so with Brent, when I go to Atlanta, he takes me to the Flying Biscuit, which is literally the greatest biscuit in the history of biscuits.
Yeah, they just push it out and it magically floats to your direction.
It literally flies. Right.
Is
That's
it
the way to
flaky?
do.
Is it flaky or is it more of the buttermilk style?
So here's the interesting way to
Kind of a
put it.
mix.
Exactly. That's what's interesting about it. It's light enough, but it's really rich. But it's lighter than a typical, the buttermilk ones when they were okay. There you go. They have that.
Burgers? No.
Yeah, they have that. They do have that. I had that. It's actually not bad. I mean, they have Impossible burgers too, which I eat there too. See, these are the people who know the restaurant because they've been there. All of these guys, right? So, but the biscuit literally, like you have a buttermilk biscuit. They're typically very heavy and kind of doughy. They may be a lot of taste, but they're heavy. And then you have the super light ones, which are just lovely to the fluffiness of them all, but don't have a ton of taste. This is the best combination of both. I've never seen any other biscuit like it. That's all I can say.
And then you have a nice side order of grits on the side.
Yeah.
With nicely buttered. It's just.
Hey guys, this is a bit of a problem. I've already sort of put on the COVID-20. I don't need any more incentive to continue to eat.
Well, have you been eating well at home?
Yeah, eating isn't really the whole problem of what I've been doing at home. It's that, you're sitting, you do 12, 13 hours of Zoom meetings nonstop. And then the first thing you want to reach for the second you get out of it is a cold drink of some kind. These tend not to be low carb beverages. Let's just leave it at that.
Are you a spirits drinker or a wine drinker?
I prefer spirits, actually. Bourbon is my drink.
Okay, me too. We have a lot to talk about here.
I see a visit to the man cave coming up at some point when it's safe.
I have here, now this is all spirits, 600 bottles, 600 bottles. Okay, so, and a bourbon I have, I want to say by now about 85. Right, with Sven going?
I just got to pop this up.
Yeah, no, I saw it.
Wow. Where's he? What a roll.
Sven is out. He's just trying to get a fight with everybody. First Alan, now it's Bob. I'm all for it. So go ahead, Sven. I'm there for it.
Wow. So like Pappy Van Winkle, I don't think that's worth it.
Oh, Pappy. Yeah, Pappy.
I have 10, 12, 15, 20. But I also have like Jefferson, Sudero, Chateau Sudero barrel. I mean, those levels. I have.
Like Jefferson? You like Jefferson Ocean?
Yeah, I don't love it, but I do like it. I think Jefferson has a number of other of their expressions that are considerably better. Like the Sudero one, I find incredible. And then the other one that I'm a huge fan of is like George T. Stagg and W.L. Weller. I have a bunch of those. So listen, though, I can't drink 600 bottles of anything. So they're available for anyone who wants to come to drink.
I just got to ask you guys a question, though. Why do these guys have to name these types of bourbon by a full name? I mean, why is it like so-and-so, middle initial, so-and-so? It's like, can't we just, Jack John, something like Jim Beam, just be a little less formal? Or is bourbon something that has to be formal for you to just go to town on?
If you put an initial in, you can charge $30 more per bottle.
Yeah, I actually think the enterprise software industry should take a page out of the bourbon naming book. We should name all the products just like they name bourbon.
That's customer workflows ocean. Right. It's our maritime version. Right?
Somebody's got Whistle Pig. Is that one of these things?
Oh, Whistle Pig's a good one.
That's Esteban's favorite rye. And so that's Esteban clearly. I'm not looking at the comments, but that's clearly Esteban. Esteban's another one who loves bourbon and rye, especially rye, and he has a real good selection of rye, like fabulous selection, great taste. Wow,
you're gonna put Sven. Go give Sven his second one. ServiceNow G McDermott. Nice.
ServiceNow G McDermott.
Look, now we went from like five guys. Now it's all bourbon comments. Now I love this group. I love these guys. These are some good
guys. Giles.
Oh, look at this. Pappy Winkle, 23 years, family.
Yeah, I mean, that bottle right now is $2,700.
Oh, I guess that's why Giles was saying more formal, more dollars.
That's exactly right. Pappy Van Winkle 23-year-old reserve isn't worth $27 as far as I'm concerned, but it's $2,700 a bottle.
Wait, but when you name it Pappy, doesn't that kind of take away some of the dollars? Because Pappy is not a formal sounding thing.
Let's put it this way: before Pappy Van Winkle became a thing, I used to buy it. The 15-year-old would cost me $35 a bottle, and it was one of these squat little square bottles with the stem coming up kind of high, and now of course it's mostly advertising is what it is. 2 bottles.
All right.
What?
So I don't know. So we went from burgers and biscuits to bourbon. There's a common theme.
In between a lot of things about ServiceNow
and Batman.
Oh, and Batman. So that's 4 Bs we got going there. Wow.
So Nick, I actually do have another ServiceNow question. One of actually Brent's concentrations for a long time has been voice, and he's like one of the experts on it. And I know you guys through partners like 3C Logic do a lot of voice stuff, but one of the things that's become so I was on a conversation this morning, and this is kind of why I'm raising it. I was talking to the CEO of this Microsoft partner company that is a really solid company, and I was mentioning video collaboration and video and integration with video communications tools like Zoom and others. And he said, the other thing is don't forget, and this is the way he put it, don't forget, voice is equally as important right now, right? And it made me stop for a minute because I hadn't thought about it that way exactly because I'm so enamored of video. How do you guys look at it? Again, I know you do work with 3C Logic and companies stuff like that, but how do you think about it from the standpoint of Chief Strategy Officer?
Thanks for asking that. That's a good question.
That's a very good question. So a couple things. One, Paul, we just put Larry Jackson on our board of directors, who is the head of content for Apple Music, in large part because we want to, sort of beef up sort of the visionary strategic nature of how we look at topics like voice. And there's no question that Larry, based on what they've been able to do with that platform, is the right guy for that. So right. Yep. That's point number one. Point number two is if you think back to what you did with Alan when you had him on, one of his big moves from a brand perspective, and this ties to the technology question, is how do you make workflow a verb? Where you could envision in the same way, Siri, let's workflow that. And workflow becoming synonymous with the actioning on the Now platform. So, we've got sort of that strategic view of it. How do you continue to make it so accessible that somebody would build it into their daily repertoire of productivity spoken words so that you can have a sort of a robust interaction on a voice basis? So more to come on that. I'm not going to be the best subject matter expert, but I know it's a huge topic for us.
Ooh, I definitely would love to pick that up at some point.
You got it. We'll get you the right
Okay,
people.
so I really need to ask you about workflow as a verb here, because one of my big things has always been that. Like one person way back in the day when Skype was becoming popular, I told somebody, look, you can't underestimate Skype. It's a verb, right? And that's how I view, to your exact point, Skype, Google, Zoom now taking over the word. It's taken over the word Zoom. And when people say Zoom, they don't mean speed. They mean Zoom, the platform. So, but workflows really doesn't work the same way. It's not really that cool a word, to be honest. But so, I mean, you're going to have to like play with it somewhat here. You really will. Think about it for a minute. Google, right? Which is a ridiculous word, but it works because it's a ridiculous word, right? Most of those words are one syllable and ridiculous, right? So, and in your case, you're talking about 2 syllables and business-like.
They're actually words.
Yeah, they are, right? Exactly. There is sort of the language.
We got some ideas, Paul. You're gonna like them. You're gonna like them. You're gonna like them. We got some ideas.
Oh, listen! I promise you, as an English and journalism major, I will pass judgment.
Can you use the same naming conventions that bourbon uses? I mean, is there something like,
we can't.
Happy Flow, Happy
We
Flow,
can't.
or something?
We could. Brent, I want to take a risk. I want to. Should I do this? I want to figure out what the punchline is to Sven's latest offering here.
Oh yeah, let me pop that up.
No, I'm afraid I shouldn't. It's a risk.
Okay, go for it.
He's gonna give us the punchline. I don't know.
No.
Oh, you're waiting. Whoa. Yeah. All right, Sven, yeah.
I thought he was gonna have a punchline.
We need Sven to. You need to answer that for. What about Flappy? It's Happy and Flow.
Flappy.
In Sven's question, the difference would be ServiceNow is spelled right, but
oh wow. Oh, whoa.
he was gonna knock on the Pats. I mean,
Oh,
okay,
this is he's coming back.
Okay, all right. Now I unfortunately I poked him, so now it's going to be worse.
No, he's deadly when he's poked.
He'll come back. It might not be right now, but
that's right. Oh,
Perfect.
Well, Esteban's is kind of a mildly snarky response, I'd say.
For him, it's mild.
Right, mildly snarky.
Yeah.
They both age well, right?
And there's Knitting. Bam. What
Go
do we got? Emerald all of a sudden in
that's right. Bam. That's
all right. This has been a lot of fun, but you know what? It's
holy God. Man.
Yeah, the time has sure flown. This has
what?
probably been the most fun. It's probably been the most fun conversation I had with a Pats fan. So it's really time to
I was
end
actually thinking we might want to give him a pass so that he can come back on, because that was really a blast all the way.
I'll think about it, and we'll.
All right. Well, ultimately, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm fine with the Red Sox. Not good with the Pats. I'm right there.
Well, you know what? This year, I'm really good with the Pats. So let's have. This is the year to have them back.
I'm a Giants fan, so it doesn't matter. Actually, we're playing the Bucks on Monday, not the Titans. We're playing Brady.
I didn't even tell you this. Guess who I'm talking to next week?
Who?
Speaking of big Boston sports fans, Mike Volpe.
Oh boy, the big Boston sports fan.
But I am so glad to be talking to him right now. This is the perfect time to do that.
That's right, and especially the Rams are 5-2, right? And unfortunately, my Giants are 1-5. So that's not.
But you're only a game out of first place, so there
I know. We'll have historically the worst division in the history of the NFL, I think.
But look at Brady. Proud. Brady's 63 years old. The guy's throwing 4 touchdowns a game. It's insane.
So have you become a Tampa Bay fan at this point, or?
I mean, I watch out of morbid curiosity, right? Because the big question was it Brady or was it Belichick? And
So what is it? What do you think? If you had to choose one, who would you choose?
I mean, it's. I'll take the easy way out, Brent. It was both. It was a system, and the system was so predictable and so reliable that you could move other parts of it around and it would still work.
Okay. I hate Belichick anyway, and I hate Belichick anyway.
The best part of Belichick, I wish I had that clip when he had his freshly made hoodie that had like rat-eaten holes out of it.
That's what it was.
Totally disheveled.
Moth, worms, and rats ate holes into his jersey, into his hoodie. It was amazing.
And he did a press conference for that. All right. This has been fun, man. In all seriousness,
awesome.
It's been really fun. Really enjoyed having you.
Oh, it's an honor. It's an honor, guys. Honestly, I saw that you put the first video you ever did up again. You reposted it this week. 10 years, right?
That's the first video, though. We had what?
Yeah, I know you had more shows, but
well, you know what our very, very first video was? You might not remember this. Maybe you do. Remember we went to HubSpot? I think it was like 2008 or 9, and they record a video? Which
yes, they did.
That ever saw.
You know what? So we should ask them to have. So that one, CRM to Speed of Light, just came out with the 3rd edition, which was 650 pages. So it's a big book. So one of the segments of the Playaz was alternate uses of CRM to Speed of Light. So we proved that you could do curls with it. You could do step aerobics off it. You could use it in place of bricks and do bricklaying, and you could kill someone like Oddjob used to do, right? Those are the 4 alternate layers because it's a 3-pound book. You can do a lot with that, right? So we literally showed how to do those things. We didn't actually kill anyone, but we kind of showed the technique, right? So that was one of the segments I still remember. Wait a minute. One more thing. When did we do the John Burton one we did with SAP?
Oh my gosh. It's probably around that same time period when you think about it.
One of the two of them those are the first two for sure.
But you know what? And Nick is like, hey, I'm still here, guys. Did you ever remember seeing the HubSpot video? Because I don't recall ever seeing it.
No, I think because we insulted all the room names, which were named after Boston sports teams, that we probably didn't want to give it to us.
Yeah. So then that video doesn't count. So,
right.
So we do have. Yeah, that's it. All right.
Yeah.
No, this has been great.
Congrats on the decade. That's all I was trying to say. You guys took me down a nice little tour through memory lane there, but I was just trying to say congrats.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that.
That's good. All good.
I know you are. Again, you were the key jazz hands manipulator in all of SAP, and with the Machiavellian sense of humor. One of the best senses of humor, man. Your sense of humor is awesome.
And you got a great kind of a Rasputin guy with Jeff McDonald there pulling.
Yeah, you do. And if anyone wants to hear the story that what cracked me up with Nick's comment, offline, contact me. I will tell you the story. I'm not telling it on the air, but offline, I will tell you the story. It's hysterical.
Why don't you tell it for a happy hour next time too? Like,
yeah, maybe I could do that.
Yeah,
I could do that
because I'm sure a lot of people want to know.
That's family, so to speak. So yeah. All right.
Happy hour. I still think you ought to think about Flappy. That's a pretty good name, or maybe not.
A verb, flappy.
Flappy.
Yeah.
we can flappy it.
No,
I get it.
No.
I take it back.
No. Yeah.
All right.
Maybe just call it work. We can work it.
Yeah. All right. We'll work.
All right. We'll come back with some for you.
All right. So on behalf of Nick Tzitzon, I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Players. We will see you tomorrow for Excuse the Intrusion, because we're going to be talking sports. Until then, we'll see you later. Oh, do we have to do the fake pose?
Okay, this is the 7 seconds of silence so people can hear the end of what we're saying.
We're out.